Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Beacon House, and also welcome back to the East from the West. Grace Steele, say hello.
What's up? What's up?
Grace has returned from a long and arduous adventure. I don't know. She didn't tell me that. I'm just making that shit up. But
I like that word. That was a big one. I feel like that should be the word of the day.
Arduous.
Spell that. Can you spell that for us?
I think it's Ardous, but I could be very wrong. And it doesn't matter anyway because we want to hear. First, I'll tell everybody like where you went.
I flew from Knoxville to Medford, Oregon, and then drove to Cave Junction, Oregon.
And so, you know what's funny about Medford, Oregon, is back before I worked for Guitar Center, the company that I worked for was called Musician's Friend, which they technically still exist online, but it was all based out of Medford? Oregon. Yeah, I never got to go there.
It's beautiful.
They always talked. The owners would fly into Knoxville and they would go, "Man, I wish you guys could come out to Medford sometime. It's such a beautiful place."
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And then spent some time in Oregon. Went to California. Went to the coast. In California, went to the Redwood Forest. It was amazing. Crossed that off my bucket list.
What is
right
it
there?
What the fuck is it like just to be in the Redwood Forest? I bet it's.
I felt so like, animal. I don't know. Like it's just being deep with the trees around. Like you feel like you're in another world.
Yeah.
Like it's so different. But I felt like I was getting in tune to.
Like the earth.
Yeah, like
nature.
just like being there, like being like how old these are.
Yeah.
The trees are super fucking old.
Yeah. And I've seen like pictures of, like when you see pictures of it, and I've never been there, but if you see pictures of it, it doesn't really look like anything else, at least to me. Maybe there's another forest right next door that looks just like it. But whenever I see pictures of the Redwood Forest, like the fabled fucking Redwood Forest, it's always like, it looks like something out of a fairy tale.
It does. I took a picture of me right in front of, or right behind a fern. The fern is as tall as me and like massive, like wingspan of like an eagle.
Everything's huge.
Like it's so huge. So I just felt so tiny, but it felt really good. And random fact, the reason the redwoods are so tall is because they compete with one another for sunlight.
Oh.
So that is why they grow so high, because they're trying to be higher than the other one to get to the sun.
Interesting. And, dude, I would imagine when you see pictures of the Redwood Forest, like you said, it already looks everything looks big.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, and, you know, I'm a fucking total nerd for paleontology. We'll get into it one of these days. There will come a time, Grace Steele, when I'm going to start talking about like dinosaurs and like the Earth before man.
I would love to hear you. I love dinosaurs.
You will for a minute, and then at some point you're going to go, Spence. Stop, Spence. Just stop. But we'll get to, maybe not. Maybe you can make it to.
As long as I can make the joke, being like, "We have a big head and little arms, like the T-Rex."
Sure. I wish you guys could see Grace Steele right now. She picked her coffee up like a T-Rex with tiny arms. Please don't do that again. The nightmares are already starting. I'm not even asleep yet. I'm just kidding. But no, but I imagine that back in the day, that's what everything looked like. Like everything was that fucking huge when there were a lot of these large animals on Earth.
Fucking mosquitoes the size of a basketball.
Now, you said you went down the coast. Did you guys go down the famous Pacific Coast Highway?
No, well, we didn't. We did a short bit of it, but we didn't go that much farther. We just went to this small town that's just like right there at the coast, Northern California, right as you come out of Oregon.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
I can imagine. I've never been to the coast, but I've seen.
It's so different. It's always been a dream of mine to at least once. Because I'm on the east side. This is where I live.
Yeah, same.
You know,
go down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I would love to do that too.
Yeah.
Now that I've looked it up, but it was awesome.
I like. There's a lot of old out on the West Coast. There's a lot of old and when I say spooky, I don't necessarily mean actually spooky like ghost stories, but there's a lot of like old, like leftover from like the 60s type like surfer culture towns that are just like, anytime you see them in photos, they look real washed out, and it's just like got this super vintage
vibe.
Like super vintage ocean kind of town vibe.
That's like the town that we went to. It was absolutely beautiful. There's the lighthouse, seeing all the ships, the fishing ships, just like the ridge line, like all of it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. So you went to, so
even though it was cold, it was great to be on the beach and I'd see crabs and.
I like little crabs.
I do too. I like little things.
So then what? Where'd you go next?
And so then when we left, we drove to, we were headed to Vegas. So we drove through California and Nevada. We stopped in Reno because Reno 911 is probably one of my favorite comedy shows. So I had to get in front of the sign.
Fucking awesome.
So I did that. Got to Vegas, was there for about 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 3. I think it was like 2 nights, 3 days. My grandmother lives there, so did some visiting with her. We stayed on the Strip at the Bellagio. It was
amazing.
It was amazing.
Did you do any gambling?
Yes.
How did it go?
Good.
That's a loaded question. You already technically told me about it like that. You don't have to say an amount, but you did. You cleaned up pretty well.
I did. My friend cleaned up even better, but I did. I didn't realize how good I am at that. That's dangerous.
No shit.
I'm so glad we don't have casinos here. I'd just be in that bitch.
Yeah, a lot of people, the local, I guess, substitute for that is they go to Harrah's, Cherokee Casino.
Yeah.
But I've heard that, and I've been to Harrah's before, but I've never been to Vegas. I hear that's no comparison at all. Like I hear in Vegas, you can literally get off the plane and start gambling in the airport.
Yep.
Or once you leave the airport.
They got them in the gas stations.
Yeah. Anywhere.
Just in the it doesn't matter.
If you go across the street to a laundromat, like there's a fucking, what is the thing you pull, the slot machine in there?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Just everywhere, And the thing is like when you get outside of the Strip area circumference of Vegas, it's actually pretty shitty.
Is it really?
It's not. Yeah. Like,
is it just like a crap ass desert, or is it just like a shitty town?
Like it's just like ugly.
Really?
Yeah, like it's just like you got like all the life and the entertainment and the glam and the lights and let's go, boom, 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 nightlife, alcohol, drugs, strippers, whatever. It's like all right there. Lights, lights, money, 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 Prada, 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 right? Like designer. And then you step out of it and it's none of that.
Back into the real world.
This is not exactly like you get slingshot right back into it. But
like you think you're hot shit. You're like, I'm fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
Man, look at me. You're wearing your fucking suit. And
then
you're
it's like
standing just in front of a.
Sir, you've got toilet paper on your shoe. Oh shit!
It's like literally like a 2 blocks away is like one of the largest homeless camps that Vegas has, and like underneath the Strip and all that area, there's tunnels of where like homeless people live. So you got like all these, and there's only like 3 families that own all the casinos and hotels in Vegas.
No shit.
Yeah, there's only like 3 people.
Good God.
I think there might just be 2, but 3 that own.
So what would you say, like, for somebody like me that's never been there? I mean, of course, I've seen the movies, and I've seen the heist movies, and you know what I mean? Like, I've seen the Katy Perry video, like waking up in Vegas. That's actually a really good video.
I always think of Hangover now, or Casino.
Yes.
Casino's one of my...
But what would you say to just like somebody that's not been to Vegas? What is the big appeal of like when you get to Vegas? Is it just the escapism from the real world? Is it the fact that
basically
everything's available?
Everything is available. Now you are going to be spending a lot of money in Vegas. Like as much as we won, we probably lost double. Like you are not just lose in gambling, but spending money. Like,
because you just don't want it to stop.
Like you go shopping and the dinners, the restaurants, the shows, like it's all in your fucking face. Like if I could have I would have done actually Adele was supposed to start her residency while I was in Vegas and we were trying to get tickets to that, but she postponed it because she got heartbroken. She got in a fight or a breakup or something with
Adele
another
did?
romance. Yeah, it was like in the tabloids, and I was like, Adele, I'm right there with you.
Shit, there'll be a
Gotcha.
fucking crazy album coming after that.
Yeah, Adele got dumped. But we saw Cat Williams. It was great.
Oh.
Tool was playing.
Didn't get to see him?
No.
Fuck.
Tickets were like fucking $600
Oh my
to get in. To fucking
God.
like one ticket. That's what was left.
So how was the shopping out there?
Yeah.
That's another loaded question. She told me a little bit about her shopping.
So, as some of you know, that I actually had no idea that when you are playing or sitting at a table or you're gambling, the casino brings you free alcohol. So, I would start drinking at like 11 a.m. Like, go to breakfast, start drinking. Like, that's I mean, you're on vacation. It's Vegas.
Yeah.
And in Knoxville, it's like 2 p.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So it's like after 12.
And hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
And literally, there's people who have already eaten. It's like 10:30, 10, and they're on like their fifth margarita, just like walking around. Yeah. So everyone's already hammered by the time it's noon. So we drink. We're having fun. We're just walking on the strip. The drunker and drunker I get, the more I want to spend money.
Oh, man. Oh, that statement alone is one of the most terrifying statements a woman could possibly utter, you know?
Went into one particular store. I don't even remember being in the store. I remember vaguely certain things. Looking at what I bought, I spent over $300 in cash in this particular store on clothes.
Uh-huh.
I have no fucking clue why I picked any of this. I need to return it all. It is not me. I bought a Lakers shirt. I am not even a Lakers fan.
Shit.
I have no idea why I did that. And the coloring and the skirt everything is just like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that was drunk Grace.
I bet it was fun to shop drunk, though.
It was absolutely, because I didn't try a single thing on. I literally just
Threw it in the cart.
I'm pretty sure I had someone following me, and I was like, here you go.
Just throwing them in the air, and that person's catching them.
Yeah, I went into...
There's like fucking steam coming off the credit card.
It was all in cash.
Oh, shit.
I went into another store, and I remember one of the ladies says, does she want to try this stuff on? Does she need a room? And I said, no, I know my size. At least I like everything from that store.
Well, that's a win.
You know, and if I didn't, we don't have that store here.
What was it like looking back over the stuff going, oh, fuck, Lakers, what?
Yeah, I was literally like just looking. I laid it all out on my bed and was just looking at it and was like, what the fuck was I thinking? $338 on this? What the hell?
You know what? But we admire your resiliency.
Whatever, it's fucking Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, you leave, you shop, you're drunk, you're like, let's go get food. So then you drop like another $150 on dinner. You're still drinking at that point. I remember at one point I wanted to go into the Prada store. I'm so glad that I couldn't make it up those stairs. But yeah, the shopping is amazing. You can buy anything, get anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Everything is extra expensive in Vegas.
Now, I've got to ask. I think you already mentioned this, but just because I know we're going to have people, listeners are going to ask about this.
What?
In a previous episode, you said you were going to attempt to go to this like Mexican / like strip club place,
yes.
and
Didn't make it.
Didn't make it to the place. Okay.
Let me
The shopping was too intense.
I didn't realize how wasted you
I've
could get
had
so
people-
fast in Vegas that I was just like, man, and you know, and I didn't want to like do anything stupid, and I knew if we'd go to the strip club, which my friend was totally down to do, but I was like, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I will get arrested. I was already looking up tattoo parlors.
Great.
I went on Pinterest. It was like, I want to get that tattoo. No, that was horrible.
Bull in a china shop. Shit, bro. Well,
I guess that's a good way to.
I've already had a couple of, a very cute, articulate, intelligent bull. But like, I've already had people ask me this week from the lab. They go, dude, did Grace ever eat that taco while getting a lap dance? And I was
I
like,
wish I had.
I don't know.
I really wish I had. I can get Taco Bell and go into the ball.
The ball. Is that the one on the Alcohol Highway? Yeah. I'll have to edit this out, but they're a huge customer of ours at Papa John's.
Oh,
they order so much fucking pizza, and they tip great, and they're really nice.
Bet, yeah.
I know it's sketch, but like fucking, dude, they're really, really good customers of ours. And a couple of years ago, when I'm gonna have to edit all this out too, but a couple of years ago, when all those fights kept breaking out and people getting shot at like 4:00 in the morning, like the ball would close at 3, and then the parking lot would just turn into an insane party for 2 more hours till 5 a.m. And all of a sudden, people started like getting in fights and getting shot and all this shit. And they were talking about closing it down because it was like a public health. And we were just like, bro, we hope they stay open. And we would send pizzas and we put little notes. We support you guys, you know.
I bet the girls wish they stayed open too.
Yeah. Ooh. So
I did not. It was something that I look back on and wish that I had done. Did the shopping, went and saw Cat Williams, got super high. I think that also went into it, is like how strong these edibles are and me drinking on top of it.
Now, is weed legal in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh God. So
I was just getting stoned everywhere.
Jesus Christ.
I was in Cat Williams just getting high.
On another level.
Like, I just sit next to a dude just fucking smoking, just getting high.
Holy shit.
Oh God, fucking I love Cat Williams.
Was it incredible?
If only he was a little taller. Huh?
Dang. What was he? He was funny at least. He did well.
He's hilarious.
You loved it?
Everything he does is funny. Even the guests, the acts before him that came out, I was already like peeing in my pants. It was so funny. It was great.
I remember when I was in Kansas City with my family, and a lot of my family, this was like Midwestern type, and they're older than me too, so a lot of them are like involved with like their church and like their youth groups, and they're cool, but they're just like, again, not saying that if you go to church you can't be cool. That came out wrong, but anyway, they're just a little more conservative. Yeah. And I'm not talking politically. I don't know how they lean politically, but they're a little more conservative. They've got grandchildren and stuff, and they do. The church kids come over and they chaperone a lot of field trips and stuff like that. But it turns out my cousin's super into Cat Williams. And her husband's like, well, the language is a little rough. And I was just like, bro, get it. You should hear my podcast. But anyway.
I apologize.
So Vegas, and then, did you go to that Cadillac graveyard thing?
No, we actually got into Amarillo. So instead of the plan of going from Vegas to Amarillo to Memphis to home, after Cat Williams, we left, drove through the night, got to Flagstaff, Arizona.
Whoa.
Stopped, got a hotel room, recharged, got some breakfast, and then just hit the road. And then drove through stopped in Amarillo just to get food.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to have left Vegas Saturday morning, but when we got tickets, we didn't look at the date, and it was Saturday night that we got the tickets, and they were non-refundable. So we were like, "Fuck it, we'll just fucking stay all day Saturday, and then leave after the show and come back."
Yeah.
But that put us a whole day behind, so we weren't able to stop and do Amarillo and stay at the downtown hotel and see. Yeah, because I wanted to go to the Mustang Museum because my daughter loves horses, so I really wanted to get her something from there. But we just drove straight through to Oklahoma City. I think it was like 16 hours, 14 hours that we just drove straight through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas to Oklahoma City.
Sounds beautiful. Sounds like it was pretty out there.
It was beautiful. Listen to podcasts the whole time, Swords and Scale.
I got that.
Listened to that like the whole time.
I totally got that.
Had some conversations. I was looking outside being like, why the fuck are these homes so close to the interstate when there's all this fucking land? I was like, I don't understand this. There's like, it's rural parts that I've never seen in the United States before, and I was just so amazed. Yeah. It was super cool. Saw some awesome stuff. Stopped like at every sign. Saw some cool nature.
Dude, that's impressive. I feel like, well, I don't know. I don't want to generalize and say like every American, but there's definitely like, for a lot of people, just the idea of going all across the country and seeing even just the road signs for all the places you never got to go, like just to kind of piece it all together like that, I think would be really, really cool. So, I mean, I enjoy traveling and I enjoy flying and stuff like that. And usually the time, I usually fly places if I have to go because I don't have time. But like, just the idea that like you get off a plane and you're kind of already there.
Yeah.
And you kind of don't really know where you went to get
like
there.
what you saw over.
Yeah.
I love road trips. If you're with the right people, with the right music or podcasts, it's a great time. If
Yeah.
you're not with the right person, has the right attitude, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
So it really just makes it. I love road trips. There's so much that I want to do in the United States. Like I want to see Montana. Like I actually want to go to the Grand Canyon. We passed like right by it.
Yeah.
And we did have plans to stop and see more things, but staying in Vegas that extra day really put us behind. But we did stop in Memphis. Had some great barbecue.
Rad.
It was really good.
Well, that's
The whole trip was good.
Kick ass.
The whole thing.
We're very glad to have you back.
I'm very glad to be back in Knoxville. I will say that.
Yep.
We live in a beautiful part of the country.
We do.
East Tennessee.
And I usually feel that way too, even as much as I enjoy it, like a vacation or whatever. When I go, when I travel, I'm usually glad to get back. Like I have not fallen out of love with Knoxville. I do sometimes when I'm just like rushing to get to and from work and there's construction or the fucking potholes and all the, all that magical things that come with living here in Knoxville. But like, I'm still glad to get back. I still like it here,
Yeah, I like it here too.
So fuck, what else has been going on? Do you catch any of this? Like, so I know you probably noticed. I went on and I posted some snarky shit from the Beacon House podcast Instagram account over this whole shit that's going on with Neil Young and Joe Rogan and all that. Have you heard about any of this stuff?
A little bit. I'm not 100% sure what Joe Rogan's stance was. And so, because I don't care that much. So I just know that that he did something that pissed some musicians off. And so they're removing themselves from Spotify because Spotify, I guess, was backing Rogan.
Yeah. So I saw some of this and, I got a little hot. And let me preface this. Let me preface this by saying, like, I don't care who you support or what you like and all this stuff. And even recently on our podcast, this one, Beacon House, I mentioned watching some podcasts where there was like a doctor somewhere and he gave me bad advice about this stuff to gargle with. And I was like, oh, fucking don't do that. Try this other stuff instead. So again, if anybody's listening to like podcast doctors over your real doctor that is at your doctor office that has your records and knows what the inside of your fucking skull looks like.
Who wears a white coat.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Like, even if I get, whatever their credentials and their expertise are like that. So, but apparently enough people are concerned. So let me give you a little bit of backstory on it real quick. And by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be a tired story. But Rogan had a bunch of guys on the podcast. He has tons of people on the podcast. It's sort of the model. It's the measuring stick for Rogan's podcast is the measuring stick for all podcasts. It's absolutely at the top of the mountain. Whether you like him or not, it's the most listened to podcast ever. I don't know if there'll ever be another one that has that kind of
I remember when he first started out and podcasts became a thing. My ex was like huge into him. We used to listen to him all the time.
And for me, it's never necessarily been about Rogan as much as about who he has on. Like,
yes,
if he has good people on.
Yes.
Oh man.
That's what makes it.
It makes it totally 100% every time. But I feel like he's a pretty good barometer for like how to, like, he has different kinds of people on and I think he mediates them pretty well. Also like the fact that he's not too serious, but because he's so big, and I think his viewership is something like 11 million people per episode, which is a lot, way more than like any news show, way more than like CNN, MSNBC, any of that shit, which for the record have an insane history of corruption. The mainstream media is a turd, and if anybody doesn't know that, like
fake news.
If you've not noticed, if you haven't figured that out yet, and you're listening to Beacon House, how did you get here? So listen.
That's a good question.
But basically what happened, he had a couple doctors on, and these doctors, for starters, I had a lot of friends who were like, well, he has these people on, then they're not even experts, and he's spreading misinformation, propaganda. So, and everybody by now, except for you, I think everybody but you has seen Joe Rogan's video that he put a 10-minute long video on his phone saying he kind of apologized and said, look, I apologize for all this controversy. Here's the deal. The men I had on, one of the guys was the most published physician ever in his field. of like research with like heart disease or whatever the guy was. He was the most published guy ever. It wasn't just like some guy off the street. The other guy holds like a whole bunch of patents on mRNA vaccines. So he's in some way responsible for the creation of the COVID vaccines. These weren't just like a couple of dildos, but they had some controversial shit to say. And some other really smart people have pointed out that they kind of cherry pick their evidence to kind of push what they were saying that the vaccines are kind of dangerous or they lead to heart conditions and things like whatever. But he had these guys on. He talked to them. He also had a whole bunch of other people on that had differing opinions too. Mm-hmm. But somehow, in these last couple episodes, Neil Young.
Oh, he was so offended.
Let me get my notes here. I brought some notes.
Oh,
I brought some.
Y'all,
notes.
this is the first time Spencer's brought out some notes, so we know that this is important to him.
So Neil Young, who, and again, no judgment, but Neil Young, who openly discusses how many various drugs he used for 40 years. This guy put everything you could fucking think of into his body and like barely survived, to the point where when he recently got sober, he like really talks about it a lot. Somewhere along the line, Neil Young became an expert on public health and medicine and demanded that his music be removed from Spotify over ire at the Joe Rogan show, because he had these doctors on there saying things again. And even in Rogan's response, he says, look, I don't know if they're right. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy that has conversations. And as somebody who also does a podcast, I can appreciate that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So anyway, Neil Young fucking goes up against Spotify. He says it's either me or Rogan. Well, obviously he gets yeeted, because Rogan has the biggest contract ever in the history of Spotify, and they've put $100 million on him or something. Whatever. He brought a lot of people to the platform. So Neil Young takes his music and goes away. And then all of a sudden cozies up with Amazon real big. We'll get to that. And then a couple other people like Joni Mitchell and some of these like aging, like geriatric rockers decide they're going to pull their catalog off Spotify, citing Joe Rogan's show as the reason, which seems weird because if you watch Rogan's show, like there wasn't really anything that offensive on it. There were some bizarre opinions and like some weird scientific things that happened, but he was never saying vaccines are wrong, don't get vaccines, blah, blah, blah. He was just talking to these doctors about their research, okay? Which did not conform to the mainstream narrative. That's important. But either way, all these aging rockers bounce. And so at first I was kind of like, whoa, that's weird. It's weird to see Neil Young, a guy who was all about freedom and counterculture for his whole career, is now all of a sudden supporting censorship. That seems a little weird. So I was like, well, whatever. I guess we'll see what happens. And I had a lot of friends that were like, fuck Joe Rogan. Like, we support Neil Young. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty serious. Like,
are you supporting Neil Young because you like his music as an artist? Or are you supporting him because you're really taking the stance on how he feels about the controversy?
Exactly. And so I had to kind of go.
I like his music too, but I would have to go with Joe Rogan on this one.
Yeah, same. Or the same for free speech. I'm big on free speech.
Free speech. No censorship.
I don't think you can censor the bad things in the world away. I think they just go somewhere else and they're harder to deal with when they're hidden. I've always thought that. But again, to each his own. I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel. But here's an interesting point. Why are all these rockers all of a sudden so concerned with Spotify's platforming of a podcast and whether or not it challenges the big narrative over vaccinations and modern science and things like that?
I don't know. What did you find?
What I found out, and it didn't take much digging, because a lot of smarter people than me, like the fucking phenomenal news show Breaking Points, and then also Russell Brand actually like did a big investigative like research on this. But it turns out that a whole bunch of these artists, Neil Young kind of out in the front, recently, like last year, sold all their music for, like Neil Young particularly, like $150 million, sold all his music to this hedge fund. And also the hedge fund is in bed with a company called Blackstone. If you don't know who Blackstone is, Google it. Blackstone and this hedge fund are in possession.
You want me to read what it is?
What does it say?
Blackstone is a leading global investment business, investing capital on behalf of pension funds, large institutions, and individuals.
So basically, Blackstone's like the car that the hedge funds ride in, but yeah. So they own all the rights to the music for some of these aging rockers like Neil Young and probably a whole bunch of other ones. And just as it turns out, the senior advisor for this company just happens to be the CEO of Pfizer. So, I mean, does it mean anything? Not necessarily. Does it mean the guy has blood on his hands? No. But that's just a weird coincidence.
It is.
You would think that he would all of a sudden want all these artists, of which he owns the rights to the music, to attack the biggest podcast that's questioning the validity of vaccines or the safety of vaccines. It just seems weird. And also it's funny that now Neil's over on Amazon promoting, like, they get 4 free months of Amazon Music, which, by the way, I tried, again, to each his own, but I at one point tried Amazon streaming service and it sucked. Mm-hmm. It sucked ass compared to Spotify. Sorry, the algorithm sucks. You don't find bands you like. It sucks. But now Neil Young's over there on Amazon talking about, if you come over to Amazon, we'll give you some free things. By the way, Amazon has the longest history of offenses to the human race, which include borderline cruel employment treatment, destruction of small business, and destruction of small town America. Everything that's contrary to Neil Young's musical identity. Now he's like, well, Spotify was too evil. Now I'm on Amazon. You talk about out of the frying pan into the fire. So, but it's okay because money.
Money. That's what rules the world.
Turns out all of this posturizing over like keeping people safe with the vaccine, and I'm not going to be on the same service as Rogan. Turns out it was a hedge fund, and it all comes back to money and big money interest. And what's scary about it is they're trying to take down a huge platform. A Rogan show, regardless of what you think, features people that you won't see on the mainstream news media and people with controversial opinions. It basically just gives a lot of people access to conversations they wouldn't get watching the nightly fucking news, you know?
Right.
And
which the people who should be watching Joe Rogan is just watching the nightly news.
That's true. And that's dangerous, too, because now all of a sudden he's so big, he's on their radar. So I think it's scary. I'm not saying you have to support any of these people. Please don't take this wrong. I'm not saying you have to support Rogan or if you support Neil Young, if you support Amazon. I mean, I ordered something on Amazon this week. I'm not anti anything.
Yeah, I did too. I got Oreos.
Did you get some more? I want to. I know you love Oreos.
Yeah, I did.
I want to make sure
some
you.
Oreos,
Okay, that's good to know.
And I got a box of big candy bars like Kit Kats, Hershey's, Reese Cups. I just sit in my bed with chocolate and milk.
I love that about you. But so yeah, there's an interesting thing going on with the whole Neil Young, Joe Rogan, Spotify thing, and I encourage you to kind of look beneath the surface before you just decide I like Neil Young or I like Rogan or whatever. There's a lot of
the skirt.
Lift up the skirt a little bit and see the dick hiding. So anyway, but so before you just think these people, Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and all of them are being so brave and so true, kind of look where the money goes. Also, I just want to go back to Neil Young also hangs out with David Crosby. You know, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and fuck David Crosby. He said all kinds of terrible things about Eddie Van Halen after he died.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's
Man,
that.
you felt passionate about this one.
I did.
My mind is now ticking.
I did because here's the thing. In 2022, censorship can be weaponized by either political or financial interests. So like big companies or big influence or whatever like that, if they don't like what somebody's saying, they can kind of move some things around. So in this case, whoever doesn't like Rogan talking about vaccines, probably that guy from Pfizer.
Probably.
I've heard of Pfizer somewhere. Where did we hear of Pfizer? But that guy probably, since he owns with his buddies in Blackstone or whatever, or the hedge fund, they just go make all the artists leave and go to Amazon. Maybe that happened, but he didn't have to.
That could have happened.
He didn't have to get his hands dirty. Instead, he goes, Neil Young, no, you go be the asshole. So who knows? But it turns out I kind of wanted to be like, man, fuck Neil Young or fuck whatever. But it turns out he kind of is just a slave to the whole thing anyway.
He's a slave to the industry, to the man.
But I just want to say I don't think censorship is the answer ever.
No.
I think if you censor the things that you don't like, it doesn't give people a choice anymore. You know?
I mean, America, we're supposed to be founded on free speech, freedom, our rights.
That's true.
Second Amendment. Yeah, you know.
Anyway, that was my little rant about the whole Spotify, Neil Young, Joe Rogan, blah, blah, blah. I will say this. If anybody wants to look a little deeper into it, there are a lot of great videos about it. I would recommend Russell Brand has got a whole bunch of really good ones, and they're kind of lighthearted, too. They don't tell you how to feel. Check that shit out on YouTube. And then also, in my opinion, the most unbiased, uncorrupt, like news reporting show ever is called Breaking Points, and it's on YouTube also. You can get clips. You can even subscribe to them, but they're phenomenal. So anyway, that's my little...
You feel better?
A little bit.
A little bit?
I feel
Sometimes
like
you just need to get it out.
I feel like I needed to get it out.
Yeah.
Which also, I don't know why I feel that way sometimes. Like when I'm reading something, I go, especially when I have a couple friends that are kind of like, I see them posting things and they're kind of like, blah, 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 fuck Joe Rogan. I'm kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like, what's he done? It's like, I know you don't have to like the guy, but like, is he really this paragon of like evil and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of the time he just gets high with his friends that are comedians and they have
That's
funny
what I thought.
conversations.
Yeah. Doesn't Miley Cyrus sometimes like co-host for him?
Yeah.
Like do it? Fucking love her.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, but I feel, I don't know. Like sometimes when people get all uppity, I'm kind of like, man, settle the fuck down. But then I get uppity. And I have a hard time.
Sit the fuck down.
I have a hard time settling the fuck down. That's all I got.
Well,
what else
it's
is
good.
Groundhog?
How about mine?
Groundhog. You want to talk about a groundhog? You bought a groundhog in Vegas? Or
I would.
You went shopping
if
for
I
groundhogs?
could.
The groundhog was the wrong size?
I just don't believe when the whole like if it sees its shadow, is it right? Like that's like if it sees its shadow.
It's definitely not a scientifically proven process. It's not real meteorology.
God, but it's every year.
And you hear about it on the news, so it's it is something.
Everywhere. I would just love to see these.
What is
the
it?
mayor like hold it up and it turned around and just like bite their fucking hand.
Fuck yeah!
Like holding me. Like
are there videos of that? There've got to be videos.
There's videos of them holding. There's got to be a video of the thing squirming.
Either that or they drug it up. Like
I was about to say, are they tranquilized it before they?
Punkatani Phil or whatever its name is.
I don't even know how you were
Look
pronouncing
it up.
that.
There was it's named after a town or some Punxsutawney.
We've already discussed what the town's name is.
And then, but didn't one of them die? And now there's another one with a different name. What are the names of these fucking groundhogs? That's what I want to know. And how did Groundhog Day get on the calendar? It's on the calendar, just like Flag Day. Which, how did that get on the calendar either? In fact, how did a lot of shit get on the calendar?
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able, I can't pronounce this town, but here's your answer to how Groundhog came. In 1887. No, actually, I'm going to let you read that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you read that.
Where?
Because it has exactly what I said in it. Read it.
I can't even pronounce it. In 1887, locals in a little Pennsylvania town, so it's in Pennsylvania, called Punxsutawney. Okay, so it's Punxsutawney. Punxsutawney made a trek to God. It's what you said, Gobbler's Knob, a wooded area 2 miles out of town, filled with burrowing rodents, to make the forecast. And with that, the legend of Punxsutawney Phil was born, leading to the first official ground. So that was in 1887. Mm-hmm. So the damn thing can't still be the original groundhog.
No, they just keep having.
They keep naming it Phil?
Yeah, Phil the 3rd, 5th, 7th.
So.
Told you Gobbler's Knob was.
Listen, so you got a bunch of people that are chasing like a furry
rodent.
A furry little rodent through something called Gobbler's Knob. Am I the only one that this sounds like porn to like?
I loved it, but yeah.
Gobbler's Knob.
I was in the bank when that trivia question came up, and I was like, man, I bet a lot of people are coming up with some Gobbler Knob jokes today.
I've heard a friend call another friend a knob gobbler, and it didn't mean it in a nice. It meant in a very dirty way.
Yeah, it's supposed to be dirty. Gobbler's Knob.
Gobblers
on my knob, like corn on the cob.
Gobbler's Knob, where Punxsutawney Phil. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's where Groundhog Day comes from.
So this year, didn't the thing see its shadow?
6 more weeks of winter predicted.
Well, what happens if it doesn't see its shadow? Spring happens?
I think spring is...
In February 2nd? That's erroneous. Spring happens like at the beginning of March, no matter what the fucking groundhog does, doesn't it?
Seeing the shadow means 6 more weeks of winter. Not seeing it means spring is coming sooner.
Strange. I don't think that any groundhog could convince me that the second week in February is going to be like board shorts and fucking flowers.
Man, I just want winter over.
Yeah, I'm about over it too.
I'm over this depression, this cold, this sad, this.
Yeah. That last thing that came through was just like ice. It just put ice on everything. I think you might have been out of town.
No,
put
this are you talking about just last week?
Was that one? Yeah.
I had ice all over my road.
Yeah.
Sliding.
Yeah, it sucked. Strange. Yeah, I'm sick of
I
this.
had a lot of snow though.
I've discovered I don't mind it necessarily getting cold. And I become one of these guys where I dread the weather when it's bad. And I know I feel like such an old guy. That's such a fucking boomer move. You know what I mean? Like, because I love the snow.
I feel the same way.
I like the snow. I like when it's snowing.
But when you have to do something, that's when the weather is it's a problem. Like raining, it's like, man, like I got to go run errands, or I got to do this and it's fucking cold, or I need to clean my car out. But
I think weather stops being fun when you stop having time to enjoy the weather. Does that make any sense?
True. Or if you're no longer in school and you don't get weather days.
Yeah, snow means I get to sit home and play Xbox all day. Like now, snow means like, well, I'm going to get in a ditch today. You know,
where your boss is like, "I have 4-wheel drive. I will come get you."
Yeah. Oh, great. Thanks. I guess I'll bundle up. Fucking just whether I go, no matter how much you help me out, I'm still gonna have wet socks all day. Fucking. So yeah, dude, that's 100%. I was about to say something. What the fuck was I getting ready to say? The snow, the weather. Enjoy the weather. Where was I going?
I don't know, but I'm getting a tattoo next week, or my consultations next week. But I'm getting another tattoo. I'm excited.
Where are you going to get it? And what's it going to be?
So I'm deciding. So what it is it's going to be a dagger. That's going to be custom drawn. I'm going to have my guy look at it because I'm going to add some like personal touches to the dagger itself. And then I want, like, I'm a Gemini, so I want my wildflower that represents Gemini or June with my dagger on it. And it's either going here on my thigh, but I feel like that is so, like, all the girls are doing that right now.
Dagger thigh?
Like, they're tattoo. They're all just putting it on their thigh. But my forearm. I've always wanted a tattoo right here. Nice. For so long.
Our singer, Hunter, has like a tattoo on his forearm.
Yeah.
And I believe, I don't want to over-explain it, but it's kind of like a dagger. It has some religious significance or whatever, but it's big and it's pretty rad.
Well, I have like, this arm's going to be color, and then this arm is black and white. I've already started on this. And I've ran out of room on my back.
Ran out of skin.
Yeah.
I saw recently, I don't have any tattoos. I've always thought about getting a tattoo, but I've just never liked any of them enough to commit.
But you got a little cat paw.
Well, I saw something recently that I really liked a lot. And it was kind of it was black and white, but it was like a pair of like brass knuckles. So it looked kind of violent, but in the hole, there were 4 holes. And the letters in the holes said like hope.
Oh.
So it was like...
Was it like hope, grace?
It was like... It was a weird juxtaposition of like something positive and something kind of dark.
Yeah.
Which I really, really identified with. It was the impression I got out of it was like, it just had, I don't know. It just seemed like just the image of that thing really fucking jived with me. Like, I do believe in hope and positivity and all that, but I also believe
it's a fucking violence, man.
Well, none of it works unless you fucking fight your way through it.
It's true.
Like, you sort of almost like you have to create your own luck kind of a thing. Like, yeah, sometimes you get lucky, but more often than not, if you just keep fucking swinging, you're going to get in there one day, or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I didn't want to believe that growing up, but like life has kind of taught me that you have to sort of just punch your way through it sometimes. Like,
you really do.
You got to be fucking tough, man. But that's kind of the hope. You know what I mean? You can almost like the hope resides in. I'm reading way into this.
I really like it.
The hope resides in your resiliency, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like you have hope because you can fight, kind of a stuff. And of course, I don't mean like fight, like, hey, I'm going to steal some guy's money and punch him at a bar. I'm talking like fight through whatever the next big challenge is, kind of a thing. But I was like, fuck, that looks rad.
I like that. So, if you like it, you should get it.
Might do it.
I really think everyone should, unless you're just absolutely terrified of needles and like you're indecisive and you're like, oh, well, I'm an indecisive person, but I like all my tattoos.
Yeah.
Like, I'm also there, like, once I have it, it's kind of like, well, you made the decision, just it's there. Deal with it.
Yeah. No, and I don't. I'm not afraid of needles at all. I've had so much surgery and I've had so many fucking needles in me. It's crazy. And I have a real high pain tolerance too. So like, there's nothing to stop me from getting one, except I just haven't really settled on anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe.
I just think like getting a tattoo like in a time that's like hard, that it's not like if you're going through a really hard time, it's like I really enjoy the pain of the tattoo. And there's a lot of people that do that are like, it's therapy, because it is. You know, for me, it's like if something, you know, heartbreaking has ended, or you're going through a really tough time, you get a tattoo. You're feeling that pain, and you're getting something that is representing how you feel, or something that means something to you.
Yeah.
And it's important. And then you get it, and it's like, it's done. I have it. I've moved through this chapter in my life. I'm on to the next. And I think that's something with all my tattoos that I have. All my tattoos have been done in a time of like, you know, needing therapy or needing change or going through the next chapter of my life. And like,
interesting.
Yeah. I'm able to look at it and being like, I remember when I got that and what I was going through and how far I've come from that time, being like, wow, like I was feeling like this and this and this when I got it. Now I'm over that pain. It just shows like you can get over anything.
That's an interesting perspective, Grace Steele, because like, one of the things I was going to say, like something that's kind of stopped me from getting tattoos is because I feel like I changed so much. Now it's weird because a lot of people that know me will say, "Oh, Spence doesn't ever change. He's been the same guy for fucking a million years, except now with less hair." You know, but like, and like that's true to a point. Like I've always kind of been the same guy, but the things that like matter to me and the places where I reside, this is hard to explain, mentally, so to speak.
Change.
Yeah. Like the older I get a lot less aggressive and a lot more pragmatic about stuff. You know, like when I was younger, I was super hot-headed and like I was real, I was fucking argumentative and like
hated authority. I
did
still
too.
hate authority, but
if you didn't hear my rant about the podcast, fucking Neil Young, but like tattoos I would have gotten when I was younger and almost did a million times, you know, and then just something happened I never got, would have been real like aggressive, real angry, and like kind of like, and then I've wondered now looking back if I like look in the mirror and see it, like I'm not that guy anymore. But I never thought about what you just said about how that kind of becomes like a marker of what you went through, what you were going through at the time, like how it kind of represents that time and that place.
Yeah.
But it's like a visual thing. I never really thought about it that way. So you don't have to like, I guess in that sense, you don't have to ever regret a tattoo that you got, unless it's like an ex's name or something. And
my God.
I know a lot of tattoos that I know a lot of
I've never had
a
man's name tattooed on me, but I have gotten matching tattoos with an ex. And let me tell you, it is a curse. It will, once you do it, your relationship will dissolve. It was horrible. The tackiest matching tattoos we could have come up with, impulsive, spur of the moment. Yeah. So glad it's covered up. Can't even tell what it is. It's like gone. I will never mark my body for a person saying I love.
What was it?
Oh my God.
Will you reveal it? Reveal what they were? Right now you look like you smell onions. Like you have a face of dread right now for the listeners.
It was so he got the queen's crown on his forearm, and it said, "My queen." And I got...
Keep going.
I can't. And I got the king's crown, and it said, "My king." My king.
Oh, you guys were like royalty. You're like each other's king and
That's how I feel about it. But yeah, so like that's what it said.
Isn't it funny what looks like a good idea?
Fucking horrible. No wonder, like when we went, because like we just found like a place that was open at 9 p.m. and just went because he had been wanting to get matching tattoos.
This sounds like a whole bunch of good decisions.
It was like a whole. It was horrible. The relationship was a bad choice. The dating, we dated for 2 years. 2 years though. But as soon as we got the tattoo, shit just like went down the hole. Like just crashed and burned,
as it does,
and it will. I just remember being at the tattoo place, and the tattoo artist was like, when we were telling him what we wanted, he was just like dead face. I was just like, no, like, I'm just so embarrassed that I did that. Love, man,
love. Speaking of love, well, we're out of time for this episode, but you know the next one will probably land right around Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that'll give me the chance to actually like think about some good. I don't have any good Valentines. I have bad ones, and then I have just like drunken ones. I
Fucking
hate
A.
Valentine's Day.
Well, maybe we'll ratchet up a good Valentine's Day episode for this year.
I like that.
Yeah, see what we can do. So come back and join us. Grace Steele is now back in Knoxville, and we're going to get together and give you guys a Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah.
Oh my.